Hi, this is Adrian Bridges with Michaels and Booth, and today we're going to be talking to you about Florida's no-fault benefits, otherwise known as personal injury protection coverage. Now, some people refer to Florida as a no-fault state. That doesn't mean that if you're involved in an accident, nobody's at fault. It means that if you're involved in an accident and you're a resident of the state of Florida and you have car insurance, your insurance will pay your medical bills and your lost wages to start, not the insurance of the person that was at fault for causing the accident. And that's why you purchase personal injury protection coverage. So let's talk first about what are Florida's no fault or PIP benefits. Well, many years ago, Florida changed to a no fault system of insurance, which means that if you're involved in an accident, you don't have to fight about who caused the accident before you get your medical bills paid or before you get your lost wages paid. You still talk about that issue later, but to ensure that citizens of the state of Florida could get immediate access to medical care to treat their injuries or receive immediate compensation for the time they're missing from work as a result of a car accident, we have no fault coverage. When you buy car insurance in the state of Florida, it has to come with personal injury protection or no fault benefits in an amount of $10,000. That insurance will pay up to $10,000 towards both your medical bills and your lost wages, but it pays out of that same $10,000 pot. Let's talk about medical bills first. No fault benefits will pay 80% of your medical bills. If you have a deductible, your deductible comes first. So if you go to the emergency room and you have a $5,000 bill and you have a deductible on your PIP benefits of $1,000, that first $1,000 of the emergency room will not be paid. And the remaining portion of that bill, your car insurance will pay 80% of that. But just like regular health insurance, you get the benefit of contractual adjustments or write-offs. So if an emergency room charges $1,000 for a study, your car insurance will pay 80% of what we call the allowed amount. So the bill comes in at $1,000. Your car insurance says we only pay $500 for that procedure. Then your car insurance will pay 80% of $500. And it does that again up to a limit of $10,000. The requirement, though, is that in order to benefit from that coverage, you have to seek treatment for your injuries within 14 days of an accident. Now, in the past few years, the Florida legislature has put in a new requirement for people, in addition to seeking treatment within 14 days, if a doctor does not determine that you have what's called an emergent medical condition, which really means you needed to get treatment for an accident, otherwise you would be severely limited because of the pain or the extent of your injuries, then your PIP benefits are limited to only $2,500 towards your medical treatment. If, however, a doctor determines that you did have an emergent medical condition, and many emergency rooms do this today, then you're entitled to up to the full $10,000 of PIP coverage towards your medical bills. So in addition to medical treatment, your PIP coverage will also provide 60% of your lost wages that are as a result of the accident. What you'll need is you'll need proof that you were employed, proof of what your average weekly wage is, which your employer can provide to you, and then you need a doctor's note confirming that you were out of work or you need to be out of work as a result of the car accident injuries, as opposed to just being sick or wanting to take a vacation. But if you have that documentation and you submit it to your personal injury protection carrier, they will issue you a check for the time you miss from work. A lot of times people are concerned, well, what about the 20% of my medical bills that aren't being paid or the 40% of my lost wages that aren't being paid? Well, those are the responsibility of the person who caused the accident. But as we talk about in many of our other videos, at-fault drivers, their insurance companies, they don't reimburse people as the victims incur medical bills or incur lost wages. Unfortunately, they will only pay if a case settles, which can often be months to years after the date of an accident, which is why it's so important to take advantage of your no-fault benefits following an accident. Now, although the coverage that your no-fault benefits provide is straightforward, the next question is much more difficult, and that's whose PIP or no-fault benefits pay. So we're going to run down a list of which possible auto insurance no-fault benefits will pay if you've been involved in an accident. because here in the state of Florida, it's a lot more complex than people realize, and to some extent, it's confusing to people when they've been involved in an accident. They come in and we start asking them questions about who they live with. Do they live with a relative? What if they don't own a car? Because whose coverage pays for your medical bills is very important. Let's start with the easiest example. I own a car. I live in the state of Florida. I get in an accident. It doesn't matter whose car I'm riding in, whether it's mine or my neighbor's or my friends or coworkers. If I own a car in Florida and I have car insurance and I'm in an accident, my PIP, my no-fault benefits, will pay for my medical bills. Now, if I don't own a car and I'm riding in somebody else's car, the next question is, do I live with a family member, what the law calls a resident relative? If I live with a resident relative and they have a car, then no matter whose car I'm riding in the state of Florida, my resident relative's PIP or no fault coverage will pay my bills. So imagine that you live with your parents or a child lives with you. If they're in an accident or if you're in an accident, that insurance, the resident relative's insurance, will apply if you don't own a vehicle. Now, if you don't own a car and you don't live with any family members who own a car, and remember, they have to be relatives, they can't be friends, fiancés, girlfriends, boyfriends. If you don't live with a resident relative and you don't own a car, then you get PIP coverage or no fault benefits for the car you're riding in at the time of an accident. Now, if you don't own a car, don't live with a relative, and you're not riding in a car, let's say you're just a pedestrian on the street and you get hit, then the person who hit you, their no fault benefits will actually apply to you because there's no other PIP coverage available. But that same pedestrian, if they own a car, their PIP will pay. And if they live with a relative, that relative's PIP will pay even though they're not in a car at the time the accident occurs. A lot of times people will have concerns about filing a claim with their own insurance if they're not riding in their car when an accident happens because they're worried that their rates are going to go up but that their insurance will drop them. Well, the law says that an insurance company can't raise your rates or drop you for bringing a no-fault claim if you weren't at fault for the accident. People are also concerned about bringing a claim on a family member's policy, especially when they weren't in that family member's car. Now, again, the law is very clear that that insurance company for that relative has a legal obligation to pay for your medical bills. They don't have a say in it. They don't have a choice about it. That was the contract that that insurance company entered into with that family member. It is important, however, if you've been in an accident, to let your insurance company know immediately, or if you live with a family member who owns a car, to let that family member's car insurance know immediately as well. Because sometimes those insurance companies will want to conduct investigations to confirm whether or not they provide that coverage. The sooner you get that ball rolling, the sooner they can begin to pay for your medical bills and the lost wages you're incurring as a result of an accident. If you or a loved one have been involved in a car accident and have questions about your no-fault benefits or car insurance or what coverage is going to provide payments for your medical bills or your lost wages, give us a call today for a free consultation. You can call us at 1-800-438-3606 or visit us online at www.michaelsbooth.com. Thanks.